Welcome to another episode of the Camper Report. I'm your host, Benjamin Camperman, and I apologize that I'm 15 minutes later. Well, really 45 minutes later than I was originally supposed to be. I had to. I was outside actually. It's been snowing a lot, and I was doing some drone action on with my drone. And let me fix my hoodie. This is okay. I was doing stuff with my drone, and I kind of got caught up, lost track of time, so wasn't able to start at 6. But now I'm starting at 6:45. It should be a lot of fun. These shows, and I mean, we have a lot to talk about today. We have a ton of I mean, the Super Bowl just ended. Derek Carr got released, but I'm super pumped to get this one going. And you might be wondering, the last few shows, why haven't I had as many guests on the show? And I think like especially bigger guests like around the Super Bowl, they're all really, really, really freaking busy. So that's why it's like I haven't had any big guests, but this weekend I'm planning to have Prime Time, or otherwise known as Big Play Slay. He's another Eagles content creator, and he's about my age, and we're gonna kick it this Saturday, talk a little bit more about the Super Bowl, and then I'm planning to give you guys very shortly my top 15 players list that the 49ers should target this year in the draft. So as that all heats up, that should be a lot more fun. And another thing, I am gonna finish basketball this week, so I'm going to have a lot more time in the coming weeks. I'll still probably be doing track, but I'm going to have a lot more time than I really have had within the last few weeks. And I really haven't gone live a ton, but I will try to go live a lot more for you guys. And yeah, and I'll try to add again. Last show, I didn't add chapters to my channel, but this show and continuing forward, there will be channels. So stick around. There will be there will be chapters in the description. So right after I finish this video, in this description of the video, there is going to be chapters. Basically where you just click on the little time button and it sends you to where you want to be, or the topic that I'm talking about. So let's get into it. But that's under basically every show except the last one. And I'm going to be doing that a lot more. But stay tuned for some more shows. I'll be going live on Saturday. I should be posting more videos. I haven't been really that active within the last really month and a half. So I want to get more active. I'm going to try to I'm going to try to do more shows, break up and put some more shorts out for you guys. So I'll start that this week. So let's get right into it though. And I think this is, something that has been on all of your guys' minds. Chiefs versus Eagles, the Super Bowl. And I didn't do a pregame show for this game because, I was supposed to do one with Amin, but then a big flu hit me and I was sick on Saturday, and so I couldn't do it on Saturday. I was a little too busy on Thursday, which was the day we were supposed to do it. So I just, man, it sucked. I mean, I got the flu. It was bad. It was bad to say the least. But we're here. We're reacting to the Super Bowl. We've got game balls first. Patrick Mahomes. My first game ball. I'm okay. So let's get to the game balls on each team. Usually you only give it to the winning team, but there was some incredible performances on the Eagles team as well that we have to bring up. And, it would be unfair to not bring up some of the standouts on the Eagles team as well. I mean, there was Jalen Hurts. I mean, really, this Super Bowl was one of the more exciting Super Bowls that I've watched within the last few years. I mean, last year was a very exciting Super Bowl as well, but this Super Bowl was just it was great. I won a few bets because I said the Chiefs is going to win. So, let me quickly put it up here. Super Bowl game balls. Okay. Let's get back right into it, without further ado. Super Bowl game balls. My first one is going to go to Patrick Mahomes, Patty Mahomes. This man was injured and still was freaking clutch. I was thinking at halftime when he took that big shot from the Eagles, or when he was like scrambling out and the Eagles guy tackled him by the ankles and he came up limping and it was right before the half. I was thinking, oh shit, like this is the bad leg. He comes up limping and he probably at halftime goes into that tunnel and says, coach or training staff, give me as many painkiller injections as you can, and I am finishing this game. And he's just a tough player because he was going through this all playoffs and he still was putting up crazy numbers. That's why he's an MVP. First player in history to win the season MVP and the Super Bowl MVP ever. And so just a really amazing, let me give up a stat, okay? Really amazing performance, but let me give you a stat. 21 for 27 on the game, but went 13 for 14 in second half. And obviously was super clutch, like I said before. I'll give up a play. I'll give a play. You guys probably all remember this, but with 2 minutes 48 seconds left in the fourth quarter, Patrick Mahomes runs for 30 yards. So, and this is, I'll get into it later because I do have this as a topic. Like, what did the Eagles, what did the Chiefs do? No, what did the Eagles defense do wrong in the second half? And I think this was one of the main things that they did wrong was they didn't contain Patrick Mahomes. I think the Eagles didn't like the Eagles were thinking, I think, while game planning for this game, Patrick Mahomes is injured. We really don't need to contain him because usually if you're a mobile quarterback and their defense is game planning against you, you need to contain that quarterback. You need to play a different style of defensive. You need to play a different style of defense to contain the quarterback. So that means not rushing as many people around the end and keeping it all up the middle so the quarterback can't rush up the middle. See what I'm saying? So Patrick Mahomes, the Eagles did not respect that. They thought, with this injury, he's not going to freaking run all on us in the biggest moments. And he did. Patrick Mahomes was clutch with his legs in the biggest moments. And I think that's something that caught the Eagles by surprise, was his legs, because they thought he was so injured, and he wasn't. So very impressed with him. That's a game ball. The next game ball, I'm going to go to the Eagles. Jalen Hurts. Let's first get to a comment here. What's up? I was on a date, watched the first half, but not the second. Did see Lane Johnson full start a lot and no flags. They say that. Okay, so this is interesting. David McNew or David McNiner. This is kind of interesting. And I need to have you on my show. Actually, because you are also a 49ers content creator. This is a little bit interesting, but they say about David Bakhtiari, the right tackle from the Packers, they say with him and Lane Johnson that actually Lane Johnson and David Bakhtiari both like full start on every play, but they don't get called because they say that those two tackles have it down to such a science that they're a split second early, but it's so close to when the ball is hiked that the refs don't catch it. Like it's every play. So I know what you're saying. I've actually heard that before with David Bakhtiari and Lane Johnson. They're so good at doing it that the refs don't even catch it because it's so close to when the play is started. It's really incredible, and it's really a skill. I mean, it's a science. Eagles can't blame it on the refs. I completely agree. That call was shitty, I think, but I mean, nobody really, like, the players weren't even blaming it on the refs. The post game the post-game press conferences where every player went up to the podium, or a lot of the leaders went up to the podium. Hold on. I need a new water bottle. Anyways, the post-game press conference where a lot of the players went up to the podium, none of them blamed it on the refs. And really, a game isn't decided by one call. The one thing that I do hate is throughout the year, really, and it's been like this for years, really years now, is in the inconsistency is of reffing is really bad. Like, you'll have plays that just go by, like plays that they won't call, and then plays that they do call. Like, it's just really inconsistent. Like, they'll have holding calls that they won't call, and they'll let the game play physical the whole game long. Like, this whole game, it was physical. It was a physical game. And then when it comes down to the biggest moments, they get a little bit tighter. And they've been doing it with like every single team or every single game this year. And it pisses me off. It really does. But it's hard as a ref to, you know, who knows what the angle of that. Maybe the judge in that angle was not seeing things clearly, or just thought it was from his angle. And once you throw a flag, it's really hard to take that flag back and say, no, that wasn't a flag. Because as an ego of a ref, if you're in that biggest stage, if you're in the Super Bowl and you're in that biggest stage and you get a call wrong and you have to return it, you don't want to return that call because you're thinking, oh shit, like I did get this wrong. When you're looking at the replay, you're like, I did get this wrong. But as a ref, and I see what they're like, I see what the thinking of the refs is. As a ref, if you know that you got that call wrong, you don't want to reverse it because your ego is like, oh shit, like I don't want to say that I'm wrong. So I think that he probably thought he was wrong, but didn't want to return that call at all because, I mean, what would if you return the call, it would make you look like an idiot as a ref, if you guys know what I'm saying. Wow, I am thirsty. I've been out in the snow a lot today. We actually had a snow day. Well, the school, I'm homeschooled, but I've been out in this snow a lot today, and it's kind of dehydrated me. So bear with me. But anyways, second game ball is obviously Jalen Hurts. I owe Jalen Hurts, and I have this in the description. And don't forget, now that people are kind of starting to file in, don't forget at like right after this show, I'm going to go add chapters to the description of this show. So as soon as this show ends, I'm going to go add chapters. And if you guys are watching in the aftermath, then go to the description and I'll have all the topics there. And you can just click on the time slot and it'll take you to where you want to go. But anyways, Jalen Hurts, I owe him an apology. This man was super clutch. 27 for 38, had 3 rushing TDs, which is, I think, either tied or a Super Bowl record for a quarterback. Philly should give him all that he's worth. The fact is, like, I had a lot of doubts about him. Can he win at the biggest level? The opponent that he was playing, I had doubts that he was just playing easy opponents with not good defenses, but he proved that wrong. I had doubts when he came to the biggest stages that he would fail, and he didn't fail at all. He had some good throws. He had a really good throw to A.J. Brown in the second quarter, right before the half ends. I think it was like with 2 minutes left. A.J. Brown leaps out, catches it. So very accurate downfield passer, and just, it was the fumble that he had that led to Nick Bolton, which we will talk to him later. So basically, first half, Jalen Hurts, they do a QB draw, and Nick Bolton, you guys all remember it, but Nick Bolton runs up the middle, completely blows up the play, and punches the ball out, returns it for a touchdown. That play was costly. Don't get me wrong. Like, that was a costly play. And in these biggest moments, one turnover can decide the game. And that's what it did. It decided the game. But I don't think that was really entirely Jalen Hurts' fault. Because if you look at that play again, the Chiefs, and I said to my brother, I was texting him, after the game like a day ago, and I said I was watching the whole game again, and when I saw this play, when I saw the fumble return for a touchdown, I texted my brother and I said, the Chiefs were expecting that. Like, Nick Bolton had no hesitation. He ran up to the line and the play got blown up. The Chiefs were expecting it. And if you look back throughout the season, this is a play that the Eagles really have ran through and through. Like, the Eagles have ran this play continuously throughout the season, which is basically the QB draw up the middle. So, you know, I think it was kind of the coach's fault, Nick Sirianni's fault, for calling that play because it was so predictable. Like, you could tell everyone was waiting for that play. So the Chiefs had obviously looked back at film of the Eagles and looked back and seen, oh, they like to run on this and this down and this situation. They like to run a QB draw with Jalen Hurts. And so it obviously was this and this down and this situation, and they called a QB draw, and the Chiefs were waiting for it. So this situation wasn't really Jalen Hurts' fault. I think it was more the Chiefs had seen that look. Like, they had watched film on the Eagles and seen that the Eagles just run that a lot, that play. And they blew that play up. So I don't think it was Jalen Hurts' fault, but game ball to him was clutch. Definitely was not his fault. I'll get to why. I mean, the defense was why they lost this game, and I'll get to a little bit. I'll get to the defense a little bit later. Next game ball, Nick Bolton. This guy was all over the field. Obviously, had the touchdown return for fumble return for a touchdown on the Jalen Hurts fumble that decided the game. I'll bring up another play. 3rd and 3. Bolton. Well, okay, so they run it to Miles Sanders on the outside, and Bolton just, with 4 minutes left, 3rd and 3, 4 minutes left in the third quarter, Bolton just flies to Miles Sanders and delivers a huge hit on Miles Sanders. And it's like a third, yeah, it's a 3rd and 4 or a 3rd and 1. And it ends up being a 4th down, and Bolton just freaking blows Miles Sanders up. So this guy's all over the field, and I'll give you a little bit of a context. He was a 2nd round pick, Nick Bolton. Whoever drafted Nick Bolton is a freaking genius. 2nd round pick from Missouri is a free agent in 2025. The Chiefs need to give him a bag because, oh my gosh, this guy is going to be expensive. He's going to want top tier linebacker money, and he's going to get it. I mean, this year he had 125 tackles, which is 2nd in the league, 2 picks, which is tied for 4th among linebackers. So was a really, really good linebacker this year, a top 5 linebacker this year. When he does end up getting extended, which will probably be next year, I'd think, or maybe this year, you want to lock him up while he's hot. You want to lock him up while he maybe isn't too expensive, because at this point, if he has another blow up season, he's going to be worth a lot more. So Chiefs are probably going to get a deal done with him maybe this year or next year, an extension done with him. And I mean, look for him to go for 24 million. So, yeah, but he deserves it. He deserves it. My next game ball that I am going to give is, you have to give one to Andy Reid, man. Andy Reid was incredible in this game. You're dealing really I want to say with Andy Reid, and I think this is really, really important. You're dealing with a quarterback who is kind of handicapped, and you're still freaking it's Patrick Mahomes, right? But Patrick Mahomes has a huge arm, and you can take shots downfield with Patrick Mahomes. But with this, I noticed in this game, they really didn't take a ton of huge shots downfield like the Eagles did with Patrick Mahomes. And I think a big reason why with that was Andy Reid just didn't, Patrick Mahomes' leg wouldn't allow him to take shots downfield. So a part of your offense is missing because Patrick Mahomes is handicapped, slightly handicapped. So you have to game plan around that, and you have to create a whole nother game plan in 2 weeks because your quarterback is slightly handicapped. And that's a tough thing to do. It really is. So that's one thing. And then I want to bring up a play, and I'll also probably bring this play up again when I talk about the Eagles defense, but I want to bring up a play. Um, you guys probably remember this, but 2 straight red zone trips. They had 2 straight red zone trips. They had the one with when, like, it was basically in the second half, and it was one of them. The one red zone trip was the Kadarius Toney, where he returned it all the way down to the 5-yard line, and it was in the fourth quarter. And then you also had the one, the touchdown to Kadarius Toney. So you basically had the punt return that went to the 5-yard line, and that one went to Kadarius Toney. On the, like, 2 plays later, Kadarius Toney scores a touchdown on a screen. And then I think the very next drive, you have Sky Moore, and you have Sky Moore scoring another touchdown inside the 5 on a screen. And if you go back and look at those 2 plays, the Kadarius Toney touchdown off of the screen and the Sky Moore touchdown off of the screen, those 2 plays are exactly the same. Like, basically just on the other side. So you have Kadarius Toney. What happened is Kadarius Toney sells the inside slant route and then goes back out. And basically both times Travis Kelce is on that side of the field, and all the Eagles linebackers' eyes are on Travis Kelce. And then you have both Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney on these plays. Both were on Travis Kelce's side, and they both basically sold the in-breaking slant route, and then they cut back outwards to the outside, and they set up a screen, and it was wide open both times. You guys probably remember this play, but yeah, as a coach, that is genius to scheme that up. You know the Eagles are playing man-to-man, and you know that you can toy with them in that way. You have a lot of fast players, and you can toy with them in the red zone. And so those 2 play calls I thought were the touchdown to the Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore were just incredible. Not to mention your offense in the second half literally did not have a drive where they punted. Every single drive was on point, touchdown, or a field goal. And yeah, so CarCast coming in the building, though. How about Isaiah Pacheco? Yeah, I was about to actually bring him up. Isaiah Pacheco. Whoever drafted him is a freaking genius, because this man runs hard. He's a physical runner, and he's a hard worker. You could just tell that he's a freaking physical runner. He's a hard worker. He's fast. This guy was a big difference maker. And this is where the Chiefs, earlier on in the season, I was like, can they run the ball? Like, the Bills can't run the ball. Can they run the ball? The Chiefs found their offensive identity at the right time in the season. They figured out how to run the ball around week 15, 16, and they stuck with it. So the Chiefs really, what made them most dangerous late in the season was how they could run the ball. They figured out how to run the ball late in the season. They stuck with it. So now what makes the Chiefs the most dangerous now, or what made the Chiefs the most dangerous, was they all of a sudden had a balanced pass attack. So they basically passed it, ran it a little bit, unlike the Bills, who always passed it. So kudos to the Chiefs for drafting Isaiah Pacheco, and really kudos for them for finding, like, hats off to the Chiefs for finding their identity late in the season and sticking with it, which is basically a balanced pass and run attack. The next game ball, which is my last game ball, because I know we want to move on. The Eagles wide receivers, that was very impressive. Jalen Brown had 6 catches for 96 yards, and Devontae Smith had 7 catches for 100 yards. So, and especially AJ Brown, he had a few really key third down plays, third down slants that the Eagles gave to him. And, he was key, clutch in a lot of areas in this game. So hats off to the Eagles wide receivers. That's another one. So let's get to the next topic of the day, though, because I don't want to linger anymore on that. Not game ball, but still what a player. I think he still was, quite a bit of a game ball. I'm looking at his numbers right now. Let's see. Chiefs versus Eagles. Again, while I have people in here, I want to say that I will have chapters in the description. As soon as the show ends, go to the chapters and you guys will see, and you can basically click on a time slot in the description. Click on a time slot. Obviously not right now, but click on a time slot. This will be posted right after the game, right after the show ends. So if you're post watching it, go to the description. If you don't want to watch the whole show, click on a time slot and it'll take you to where you want to go. So basically, the Eagles receivers. Oh, sorry. Let's look at Pacheco first. Isaiah Pacheco, 15 carries, 76 yards, 5.1 yards per carry, 1 TD. So had a very sizable game, but had some clutch runs in that game too. So let's get to the second, really the second topic. What went wrong with the Eagles in the second half? And I'm going to split it up to an offense and a defense. I won't linger too much on this topic, but what went wrong? I really think the Eagles, let's start with their defense because I think that was the more glaring hole. I don't think they blitzed enough, to be honest. I don't know. I think the Eagles, how to beat the Chiefs is obviously drop as many guys into coverage and hope that your defensive line and pass rush gets home, right? But that's only part of it, I think. I think the Eagles didn't take advantage of enough. I don't think the Eagles really, I think the Eagles didn't take advantage of Patrick Mahomes' hurt leg. And I think that was a big problem of theirs. I think because he had a hurt leg, you can blitz a little bit more. And in that game, I didn't see any blitzes. So I think that was a big thing. I just don't think they were aggressive enough. A second thing, and I mentioned this earlier on in the show, Patrick Mahomes, in a way, they kind of said, he can scramble, he's going to run the ball, so we're not, he's going to tear us up on defense. He's going to tear us up with the passing game if we do not drop as many guys back. So they were basically just rushing with 4 guys the whole game. And I get that. But in the same way, I think they should have blitzed more. But also in the same way, when they do rush the 4 players, when the Eagles do rush those 4 players, I think the Eagles, they needed to keep more contained of Patrick Mahomes. I think when they were rushing those 4 players, they were over or underestimating the fact. They were thinking Patrick Mahomes can't really run because of his leg. So we're going to open up the middle and we're not going to set the edge. So basically, the Eagles, a lot of times what you would see, and this is how, Patrick Mahomes late in the game had a huge run, and this is how it happened. Basically, the Eagles let the Chiefs escape the pocket. They didn't set the edge they didn't rush enough up the middle. And so all of their players were around the outside and it opened up a huge hole up the middle. And so I think the Eagles kind of underestimated Patrick Mahomes a little bit because they thought he was too injured and he kind of broke away with some big runs. And I can look up how many sacks the Eagles had right now. The Eagles had literally 0 sacks. So that kind of tells me, every time they did get pressure, which they did, but every time they did get pressure, they either didn't set the edge or let Patrick Mahomes escape up the middle. So I think that was something that I was very impressed with the 49ers against the Eagles in the championship game. The 49ers set the edge with Jalen Hurts and they didn't let him scramble. They just let him throw from the pocket and it worked. So, I think they kind of let Patrick Mahomes get a little too loose. The second part I should really bring up is, and my brother brought this up, I think they should have played a little bit of zone, a little bit more zone, because the Eagles were playing a lot of man to man. And that is a way how you beat the Chiefs. I think that's a way how you beat the Chiefs. But the Chiefs, the Eagles really, the Eagles' biggest weakness is motions before the snap. And Chris Sims brought this up a lot. My brother brought this up. I looked at it, and I'll actually be posting something on my channel, basically laying this out. Pre-snap motion is a big thing that kills the Eagles' defense. So basically what will happen, and I'll lay this out on my channel. I'm actually going to post a video tonight laying it out. But pre-snap motion kills the Eagles' defense. So basically you'll have 5 guys on one side of the line on the Eagles' defense. So you'll have 2 offensive linemen, 2 linebackers, and 1 safety deep on one side. Two defensive linemen, 1 linebacker, 1 safety, and a corner. And basically what the 49ers and Chiefs both did is before the snap, they motioned 1 receiver from one side of the line to the other side of the line. And that carried, and in a man-to-man defense, you naturally, the receiver that motions from one side to the other, the guy who's guarding that receiver on the Chiefs is going with that receiver to the other side of the line. So instead of now having 5 guys on one side of the defensive line, you have 4 guys on one side of the defensive on one side of the defense. And so that kind of creates a mismatch. And what the Chiefs were doing, they're doing a pre-snap motion, getting a receiver on the other side. The receivers, the person who is the cornerback who is guarding the receiver goes with the receiver, and you're left with an unequal amount of players on that side of the defensive line or that side of the defense. And then the Chiefs would basically just run it to that side, and it would basically be a 5-on-4 matchup. So you'd have 3 offensive linemen, a tight end, and another running back. And they would basically run it to that side. So it probably doesn't make a lot of sense because it's hard to like really explain it, but I'll do a video. Just one thing you have to know: pre-snap motion kills the Eagles. That's the thing that you have to know. It really does. So, but I'll post a video on that. You guys can go look at that. We need an O-line eating. We need an O-line eating defensive tackle, nose tackle, a huge fella like 350 plus, like 350 plus linebacker thick. I agree with you. There's actually a name that I've been looking at. If you're still here, David McNew. If you're still here, there is a name that I've been looking at, and he actually isn't too expensive. His name is Carl Brooks from Bowling Green. He's a nose tackle, projected to go in the 5th round. And I've been looking at a lot of guys that are day 3 picks that aren't going to surprise a lot of people. But I've been looking at a lot of 3rd and 5th round projected players that are projected to go in the 3rd and 5th round. And look him up. Defensive tackle Carl Brooks from Bowling Green. He is the perfect guy that we need. He's big, he's strong, and he's a typical nose tackle. And in the later rounds, you're not looking for super talented guys at every position. You're looking at guys who are good at one thing. And this guy is good at being a freaking massive player. So he's good at being big in the middle. So David McNider, if you're still here, look that guy up. He's a huge dude. Carl Brooks, Bowling Green, really good player. Look him up. But yeah, so let's get to a little bit of what the offense did for the Eagles in the first half. Now that we have a little bit more people watching, I do want to say on Saturday, I am going on with an Eagles content creator. His name is Primetime, or otherwise known as Big Play Slay. If you've followed my channel for a while, I had him on probably 9 months ago. So I'm going to probably be doing a show on Saturday recapping the Super Bowl with an Eagles fan. So it's going to be interesting to hear the losing side's perspective. So go check that out. Look for me on Saturday, and we'll probably be talking sports then. SG Sports Talk channel coming in. What's up, Shardall? I love BPS. Yes. You do. So he knows him. His former name was Big Play Slay, or otherwise known as BPS. So that's the guy that I'm going to be going on as with. That's the guy I'm going to be going on with. Hitting the like button to show support. Thank you, Grandizer. Big fan of the show. Howdy, Benjamin. How's school? How's track? All good. Sorry I'm late. Finished up a Broncos stream. You're good, man. I should have probably started a little bit earlier than I did. I was a little bit late, so I apologize. I would love for the 49ers to get tight end Derek Deese Jr. from San Jose State. I'll look him up, man. I'll look him up. Another guy that I think we could get in the later rounds, really, and I think this is kind of a realistic guy, is Michael Wilson from Stanford. Look him up. He's a receiver that we could get, day 3 pick. They say that his potential is a second round pick, but he has had so many injuries that his potential is a second round pick, but the reason why he's projected as a 6th round pick is because he's had a lot of injury issues. So that's the biggest problem with him. But if we can have, a lot of times when you're drafting in the really 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th rounds, when you're drafting from the 4th to 7th rounds, you're really just looking for guys with high risk, high reward. You're looking for guys who do something well, that they need a little bit more coaching up, but they're not like the most surefire prospect, if you know what I'm saying. So rounds 4 to 7, you're looking for guys that are high risk, high reward players. That's really what you're looking for. Let's see. Grandizer, I have heard of him. If you CA get Bird Gang 31, he is awesome. If you get Bird Gang 31, he is an awesome content creator. No offense, man. Your spelling sometimes I don't get it, but maybe I'm just a stupid reader. It could be me. But Bird Gang 31, he is an awesome content creator. I'll check him out for sure. I love your content. You do a great job on the streams. Thank you, man. Thank you. I'll try. Oh, Andrew Griniger says, "What's up, Ben?" Grandizer says, "Sorry. Typos. Yeah, I get you, man. I'm a pretty bad speller myself. Ask my family." So, but yeah, I'll be back on Saturday with a stream, so check me back there. But not to let this stream go too long, so I'm going to try to finish it up. Let's get to what really happened with the Eagles in the first half. Well, second half with the offense. I think I'll go fast with this one. The first half, they were more aggressive. I think the Eagles were a lot more aggressive in the first half. The Eagles in the first half were playing the style of football where a lot of teams are trying to go for the first down on third down, right? But the Eagles were playing the style of football, and there was one drive where it was a 3rd and 8, and the Eagles ran it. Usually on a 3rd and 8, you're probably passing the ball. But they were playing a style of football of we're going to go for it on 4th down every time. And it worked. The first half, it worked. They put up 24 points on the first half, and they had 4 4th downs that they converted. One of them was a 4th and 6 where Jalen Hurts ran for it. One of them was a 4th and 1 where they QB sneaked. I think they QB sneaked on 2 4th and downs. So they went for it on a lot of 4th downs in the first half. And they were very aggressive, super aggressive. The second half, this is the thing that pisses me off. And it really, for all the 49ers fans out there that are watching this, Kyle Shanahan did the exact same thing the Eagles did in this Super Bowl. Like Kyle Shanahan in the Super Bowl with the Chiefs did the exact same thing that the Eagles did in this Super Bowl. So the Eagles get up by 10 going into the half. And, you know, they if you look at it, Jalen Hurts was 17 for 22 in the first half. He had only 16 passes in the second half. And none of those 16 passes in the second half were going downfield. So the Eagles kind of in the first half were very aggressive. And in the second half kind of weren't taking shot. Number one, weren't taking shots downfield. The first half, they had a pass to AJ Brown, which went for a TD, which was a great catch, by the way. And they had another deep shot to Devontae Smith that was, well, actually, yeah, that was wide open, and that was also in the first half. So they definitely weren't as aggressive in the first half, and they kind of were like, okay, we're up by 10 points. We're going to play the style of let's run the ball and not be aggressive, not take shots downfield, and just kind of lay back, sit back, and not really do anything special in the second half. But what they were forgetting, what the Eagles were forgetting was they're playing Patrick Mahomes. And if you play a mellow style of football, then he's going to beat you. You can't you can't play non-aggressive with you can't be unaggressive with Patrick Mahomes. If you're not aggressive enough, Patrick Mahomes is going to kill you. The Eagles weren't aggressive enough in the second half, and Patrick Mahomes killed them. You can't play that style of football. Otherwise, Patrick Mahomes will kill you. Hey, Benjamin, where are your glasses? So that's basically my takeaway. The 49ers, the Eagles in the second half didn't play aggressive enough. And I think they just sat back and let Patrick Mahomes run the show. And that's something that, like, they were up by 10, but it's a situation where if you're a coach who hasn't really played against the Chiefs, I think it's a situation where Nick Sirianni doesn't have a ton of experience in these moments. So he was thinking, we're up by 10. We can just run the ball and control the game from here. And in a way, that's true. But in a way, you're also playing against Patrick Mahomes. And it's just, you can't play that style of football. So definitely inexperience on Nick Sirianni's part. Hey, Benjamin, where are your glasses? I have contacts now. I do not like wearing glasses. I don't like the way I look in them. I just don't like them in general. I'm definitely not like, I just don't like glasses in general. What Ben drops in spelling, he makes up in a good voice, good reader, and researcher. We call can't be perfect. Yeah. Wait, what I make up in spelling? Hold on. Did I? Okay. Wait, my thoughts on the Super Bowl. Maybe I got that wrong. I don't know what he's meaning by what I make up in spelling, but sometimes, like, some shows I've had, like, titles that are completely spelled wrong. So yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Grandizer. That was meant to be a compliment, but yeah, thank you. Thank you for that compliment. Thoughts on Patrick Mahomes? You'd have to skip a little bit. I gave him the first game ball, so I already talked about him. But yes, he was incredible. Definitely deserves everything that he gets. And Jalen Hurts deserves it as well, because Jalen Hurts was just as good, if not better. Was it the Eagles not being aggressive, or was it the Chiefs defense stepping up? Remember, I didn't see in the second half. I think it was a little bit of both. I think that turnover that the Chiefs had in the first half that led to a touchdown was key. I think in the second half, the Chiefs definitely started blitzing, and that's something that really, I think the Chiefs defense did really well. The Chiefs defense blitzed. Like, I think the Chiefs defense said, Jalen Hurts, I know you can throw the ball, but we're really going to see how well you handle pressure. And I think it was a little bit of both. I think the Chiefs, for one, in the second half, started blitzing more. You saw a lot more blitzes. You saw the Chiefs pressuring Jalen Hurts, which is a smart move. making him get the ball out fast. I mean, there was a drive where Jalen Hurts was consistently going to his check down option in Dallas Goedert because there was just too much pressure in his face. So I think, but I also think the Eagles in the second half stopped taking shots downfield and they stopped throwing it as much. So I think that was also something. So, yeah, I think it was Steve Spagnuolo. That's another game ball that I kind of have to give to him. I think Steve Spagnuolo really figured out the way to beat the Eagles is to get pressure to him quick. Jalen Hurts quick, because the Eagles are kind of like a big play team. So the Eagles, the way they're structured is their offense is always structured to look for the big play. And if you blitz, then that big play is never open. And so you're going to have a lot of mishaps on the Eagles' on the Eagles' offense if you blitz. So I think it was the blitzing. Patrick Mahomes, if that's a long-winded answer, but hopefully it answers your question. Patrick Mahomes was an absolute warrior who had that high ankle sprain, and he still got the Chiefs the win over the Eagles. Absolutely. Absolute warrior. And back to Grandizer's comment on a good voice and a good reader and a good researcher. Thanks for that, by the way, because it's like I sometimes think I'm not saying my sentences all right. And thank you for that, though. So thank you for the encouragement. We all can't be perfect. Yeah, for sure. I can't write today. It's all yeah. I can't even read that, but yes, I know what you're meaning. Nobody can be perfect. Everyone has their flaws. Yes, absolutely. Ben, a future show, can you do a sign or walk with impending 49ers free agents? Yes, I will do that. I want to do that next week. I'm looking into getting 49ers content creators next week. Also, something I want to announce. So there is this new channel. Go check it out. I'm sure David McNew, if you're still here, I'm sure that you probably know. And I think you're maybe part of it, but there's a new channel called 49ers Podcast Network. And it's basically where it's a once a week show. It's a new channel. So go subscribe to it. Actually, I'm going to put it in the description. So hold on to everyone who's listening. When this show ends, I'm going to put the link of the description of the show in the description. Well, basically the link to this YouTube channel. So it's basically a new YouTube channel called 49ers Podcast Network. It's a once a week show. It's a once a week show that happens on this channel. I'll put it in the description when the stream ends. I can't right now, but once a week show, and basically where a whole bunch of 49ers content creators they get together, and we get together and discuss 49ers. So if you want the latest 49ers news, go to this channel that we're starting up. Link in the description after this show finishes. I'll post it on my channel. It's called 49ers Podcast Network. But I'll also be one of the guests to it. Oh, good. A 49ers roundtable hosted by Ben titled Sign or Walk with Impending 49ers Free Agents. Yeah, it's not only going to be me. It's going to actually, so once a week, it'll be on every different channel. So like 1 week, it'll be on my channel. 1 week, it'll be on another person's channel. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Go check it out. But it's a new channel, so go give it a sub because I don't know if it has many subs yet. But yeah, that's actually one more thing I wanted to talk about. Derek Carr. He's a free agent. I'll probably talk a little bit about him in further shows, maybe next Saturday. But top landing spots I have for him are the Jets. The only thing with the Jets are they're a little bit restricted in the salary. Like Derek Carr's previous salary was $40 million. The Jets do not have that much to pay him. So we'll see what happens there. But that's a top landing spot. The Jets need a quarterback direly, and they're a little too far along in the first round to get a quarterback. So it's like they're kind of in a pickle. So that's a top landing spot. Another team that is definitely going to make a run at him is the Saints. The only thing with the Saints, though, is they're $59 million over the cap. So they're going to have to cut some players. They're going to have to move around some players. If they can get that done, then yeah, they will probably sign Derek Carr. Another team is the Falcons. Now the Falcons will probably settle for a quarterback in the draft, but if they miss out on all of the quarterbacks in the draft that they like, then you could see Derek Carr going there. Or maybe they get both. They get a guy in the draft and they get a quarterback, and they get Derek Carr to kind of like be a mentor to the younger player in the that they drafted in the first round. So that's another one. Those are my top 3 spots. Jets, Saints, Falcons could all get Derek Carr. And I think the Falcons are the most likely because the Falcons have the cap space, unlike the Jets and the Saints. So let me know what you guys think on that one. And the advantage that Derek Carr does have is Derek Carr has a month ahead of all of the other free agents. Like, for example, Jimmy Garoppolo isn't a free agent until March 16th, right? Derek Carr is a free agent now because he got cut by the Raiders. So he has a little bit of an advantage over all the other free agent quarterbacks. Ben, your thoughts on Cards hiring Jonathan Gannon? I saw a 49ers fan comment, "Welcome to the bottom of the division." Again, Cards fans, LOL. You know, that's a very good point. I think that Cardinals organization is a dumpster fire. It really always has been. I don't like that hiring at all. I think the Eagles defense was really the main reason why they lost that Super Bowl. I think they should have switched to zone in the second half, a zone defense in the second half, because that man defense was killing them. Like the Chiefs offense was killing the 49ers man-to-man defense. I really don't. I think he's very overrated. He had a lot of stars on this defense this year. I mean, you're talking about James Bradbury, who kind of got exposed, but still, James Bradbury, Darius Slay, an insane defensive line. I think he's slightly overrated. I think is my front runner for a one and done coach. Not a big fan of him. There's always been questions about him. What about the Titans? He's talking about Derek Carr. That's another one. Yeah, I never thought about that. That's a very good one, actually. The Titans could also be like they have a lot of, well, if they can get off of that Ryan Tannehill contract, that's a nightmare. But if they can get out of the Ryan Tannehill contract or something, try to trade him for some draft pick or something, then yeah, they could get Derek Carr. What's your Mount Rushmore of current San Francisco 49ers players? Easy. Joe Montana, Steve Young, Jerry Rice. Okay. Let's do the players that I've watched in my life, because those are the typical players that everyone names, but I haven't watched those players. So let's go back again. Frank Gore. That's a player that I loved watching as an early 49ers fan in the early years of my 49ers fandom. That's a guy. 2, Patrick Willis. That's a guy that he was incredible. I always loved watching Navarro Bowman. I loved his story. He tore his ACL, came back, played pretty well. He was out for a long time. Not tore his ACL. Was it his ankle or ACL? Or like, did he break his ankle or did Navarro Bowman tear his ACL? I'm not sure, but that's a great story, great player, great everything. Navarro Bowman. And then I'd have to say George Kittle. The early days of George Kittle was freaking fun to watch. That game against the Broncos, I think it was in 2018, when George Kittle had a 200, I think it was 200 yards. He had a 200 yards game. I think it was 2018 against the Broncos. That was incredible. I watched that whole game and I was like, oh my God, this guy is incredible. So he's a lot of fun. Who else, man? I'm trying to think of who else, because I've named 4 players. So those are 4 players. What do the 49ers need to do if they want to win the Super Bowl, if they want to win Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium? It's in Las Vegas? I haven't looked that far ahead. They need to fix the right side. I think that's a huge thing. Now, I did see a report that they're going to be sticking with that right tackle. Oh my gosh, why is his name skipping me? Colton McKivitz. If they are sticking with the right tackle, Colton McKivitz, as their starter next season, no. Why? Why are you sticking with Colton McKivitz at right tackle? Like, he might be slightly better than Mike McGlinchey, but the last thing you want is another Mike McGlinchey situation on your hands. Like, please invest more in it, guys. Please put your ego aside. And then the other thing I think is middle of the defensive line. As somebody mentioned earlier, defensive tackle needs to be addressed. I said the guy from Bowling Green. Look him up. Really good. How low have the Cards fallen that they can't get a good coach to go to Arizona? Yeah, I mean, their last two coaches have been, I don't think Jonathan Gannon is very good. Cliff Kingsbury was terrible. I mean, really all the Arizona Cardinals legacy is at this point is basically a winning record every 4 seasons. Like, they're terrible. I thought Derek Carr, and another thing, I heard that they're giving Kyler Murray say in the coach hiring process. That is so stupid. Do not do that. That's bullshit. Like, do not give your quarterback say in the hiring process. Please don't. I thought Derek Carr could go. So Grandizer 12. I thought Derek Carr could go to the 49ers. He is a Fresno guy. Maybe if the recovery, but then again, like, 49ers really don't know what's going to happen with Brock Purdy. And with Derek Carr, you really don't have time. So, like, if the 49ers had more time with Derek Carr, like, I think if Derek Carr was still on the market a month from now and you know what the status of Brock Purdy is, then yeah, I would pick him up. But he's not going to be on the market 2 months from now or 1 month from now. Can you imagine if Derek Carr went to the 49ers? Would you want him? Not really, because, like, he is like a Jimmy Garoppolo with a bigger arm. I don't know. I wouldn't really want him. I think there are better guys. I think you should roll the dice with 2 promising rookies. Who would be the starting quarterback for the 49ers in 2023? Brock Purdy or Trey Lance? That's another story for another day. I've got 50. I have 2 minutes left, and then I'm going to get out of here because I can't believe this show has went for an hour, which I'm not blaming you guys. Thank you for all the comments. I want to reiterate. Thank you for all the comments because this is great. This keeps my show entertaining. It keeps it funny. It keeps it just everything else. But I'm not prepared really to answer that comment. I personally think that Trey Lance is probably going to be the starter at the beginning of the season because Brock Purdy will not be ready to start. And then, it's going to be a fun competition because if Trey Lance does good in training camp and does good in preseason and possibly does good at the beginning of the season, then you could see a very interesting conversation. Whoa, Ben curses. You know he really don't like it. Oh yeah. Whoa, Ben curses. You know he really don't like it. Like, when I don't curse, I don't like something. I know. That's usually when I curse. Yes. I'm still rolling with Brock. Me too. But here's the thing, right? He is going to be ready at the very end of training camp. Let's say he has a setback of a few weeks, 2 weeks, let's say, or something. That's pushing it up right against, right against week 1 of the NFL season is when he's going to return. So Trey Lance is going to get all the first team reps in training camp. I mean, man, it's I don't know. I have a hard time believing that he's actually going to be the week 1 starter. But you have to specify week 1 starter or is it week 1 starter or starter for the rest of the season? Because week 1 starter, I think it's going to be Trey. Um, Thanks for your time, Ben, with school sports track. You got a busy life. Very good. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so we'll see you guys. I'll get out of here because I've got some stuff to do. But yeah, this has been an hour show. I did not expect it to go that long. So thank you for all your guys' comments. We'll see you guys on Saturday. So a few announcements that I will reiterate right after the show has ended. I will add chapters. So go to the description, and there'll be time slots. And basically you click on the time that you want and you basically just click on that time and it will bring you to a certain time in the stream. A second quick announcement, obviously, as I said, go to 49ers Podcast Network. It's a channel that is starting every week now. As soon as this live ends, I will post it in the description. So just go to the description of that and we will let you guys know. Well, I mean, and then click on it and go give it a sub. It's basically a weekly 49ers roundtable with everyone. So go to that. And thirdly, I will be doing a show with Big Play Slay, or now known as Prime Time, on Saturday. He's an Eagles content creator. We'll be recapping the Super Bowl a little bit further. So we'll see you guys later. Those are the 3 announcements. Go Niners. An exciting year ahead. Just too bad that it all had to end in this championship game. But that's old news. So we'll see you guys later. Have a good rest of your night.